TAC Talk episode 5. I did 4 with the girls yesterday. I don't actually have an agenda. I just thought we'll ask Bing on how losing muscle is going.
I got the scales this morning actually. I felt like I put a couple of pounds on. I was like, oh, what's going on here? Maybe I'm building muscle again.
Muscle accidentally.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I think I haven't been weighing myself every day, so it's just I should get the scales one day. I could, need a big shit one day, maybe. I don't know.
Just go for the average, mate. Just look at the average.
Well, yeah. So if I need to be doing that every day, then I have to get the average, which I just haven't been getting on the scales. So
you've gone up.
I haven't gone up. No, just I was expecting to have lost a few more pounds, but I hadn't.
Dominoes.
I haven't had Dominoes, mate. I've been good.
It's those night shifts.
Yeah,
doing,
night
man.
shifts, mate. They throw me about all over the place. Yeah, digestively as well.
3 hours. You had some long night shifts recently.
I did actually. I had to fucking work from 10 till 6 all the way through. I mean, it didn't work. I sat in the van all night, but it's still not very comfortable to sleep.
If you're a director at Network Rail, probably shouldn't be watching this.
Yeah, probably not a good idea.
So I was training with you, Big. Like a couple of weeks since we discussed your injury. How's it been? You've been training hard.
Yeah, I've been training hard actually. Obviously no lifting really. Just if it is nothing over like 40, 50 kilo. A lot of cardio, a lot of machine work, a lot of back to basics on the gymnastic stuff like we spoke about last week. Hollow holds, just basic gymnastic holds really, handstand holds against the wall, ring support holds, all that kind of stuff, just back to building the foundations and before we move into a bit more sort of strict gymnastic work.
You seem to be getting quite a bit of volume in a minute, just like in terms of work, like not in a necessarily intense way, but you're
I think there's a lot of time, time spent working. And so the cardio sessions 90 minutes long. About eight sessions a week I think at the minute.
Okay.
So fair amount, maybe
semi-pro.
Wow,
Semi.
yeah. Plus maybe a swim as well, but I've missed a couple of swim sessions as well. So
that's when you are like full on pro, when you're chucking in them swim sessions. all you need is a track session. Like if you're hitting the track every week.
Yeah, get a track session on a Thursday night as well. Yeah.
Or Fraser.
How's your training been, Matty?
Yeah, pretty good, mate. Pretty consistent. Still squatting loads. Lots of squats. Pretty good. I've been doing this reps in May.
Yeah.
So
tell the fans about that.
Takes a lot of time. So 50 pull-ups, 50 dips, 50 GHD sit-ups every day. And I've missed quite a few days, so I'm ending up doing 2 or 3 lots in one day, just if it's busy or chipping away. So hey, that's a killer. That was yesterday. Did 3 days worth yesterday. Just takes so much time. But we'll see. It's 1,500 reps.
You're including those reps, like if you train in a normal workout.
Yeah, I'm not putting those movements in a workout at all. No, I wouldn't do those
you're
extra.
not?
No,
they're extra.
They're just
isolation.
They're just like outside of training. Just get those done.
But what happens if in a particular workout you did 5 sets?
Yeah, I would include that. Yeah, I just haven't put those in workouts, knowing that I was going to do them extra. But yeah, it's good fun. Started doing some lifting again yesterday.
Well, you got a new bar.
Olympic lifting.
Yeah, Olympically, not bicep curls.
Oh,
Olympic lifting. Yeah, I did actually.
Well, we
steady on.
We just talked about Bingo becoming semi-pro. Like, what are you, like a quarter pro now with that bar you just brought? What was it, like $1,000 from Wolverhampton?
Yeah, it was about 2. No, it wasn't at all. I need to get consistent with that. So we'll see how we get on.
What was you doing?
What did I do? I did snatch complex. So I did a snatch high pull. I did a snatch. Hang snatch, overhead squat. Try not to move my feet, try not to run forward. Did 5 sets of that, and then I did 3 lots of 3 split jerks, 3 twos, and then a single with a pause in the catch. Then I did power clean, hang clean, push jerk, split jerk. I need to get my split jerks up, never really done it, so that was good.
Sounds like a proper weightlifting session.
That's all I did, weightlifting. And then I did every 30 seconds, 1 snatch, just at 60. Just catching the bar, trying not to step forward. Just looking for consistency. 20 reps.
Didn't even get out of breath, so that's a good weightlifting.
Yeah,
I'm a little bit jealous. I mean, I'm doing things like fucking wall walks. Jesus.
Yeah, awful. So just bit of weightlifting, lots of strict gymnastic stuff like I always do, and then the odd bench press session and bits and pieces like that. But, and then
always got a bench.
Always got a bench.
And then my favourite is the CrossFit big chippers or like just big sessions. I love doing that, so I'll always do that.
You got your Thursday performance class.
Yeah, that's been good outside.
Yeah, it's
The
been quite
weather's
busy
pretty
as well.
crap. Yeah, it's been busy.
Yeah.
The weather's crap tonight, so I don't think it's going to happen. But yeah, lots of machine work, lots of holes, like deadlift holes with kettlebells, farmers carries, shuttle runs.
You've been managing to do that, so people work in pairs as well, haven't you? Like,
Yeah,
which is
everyone's
quite
in
good.
pairs. Yeah, pairs or threes as the numbers increase. But been again just pretty consistent with the movements, and everyone's seen improvements on. So lots of single arm dumbbell work, lots of carries and stuff. So everyone's getting better at that kind of stuff just by doing it regularly. Yeah, it's good fun.
Decent. Bingo, how's it been? You had to, you didn't publicly announce it, but you had to withdraw from the European Championships before you even entered.
Devastating.
I'm sure there's a lot of people disappointed out there because you got plenty of fans.
Oh yeah.
How was that, man? Because you were thinking about doing it.
Yeah.
I think Mitch told you not to in the end.
I obviously wanted to do it. It was a goal at the end of the year to try and do a comp like that. So, but did speak to him, and he was probably right. Obviously, jumping over the rower sideways, the risk of going over on my ankle was obviously more than normal with a weaker ankle, having a weak ankle. So it's best just to not do it. And actually, with this second week being a 1 rep max cluster, I'd have probably had to put up about 60 kilos instead of normal.
Big lift.
Good for you, yeah.
It's a big lift for me.
I've done 110 at the. What was the comp we did with Nick? Battle for boxes, and you were with Morgie.
Battle of the Boxes.
Rage Pike. Sam.
Battle of the Box. That was the day Midwinter come off the bar.
Yeah, classic.
Good video.
That's a good video. Yeah,
He
you
got,
get
he, got
110.
he got 250 quid for that.
Oh, from Youth
You've
in
Been
Frames.
Framed about 5 years
Yeah.
later. Yeah, he did. He didn't even share it. I've got the video.
Oh, did you not get like a producer's fee?
I
or something for
messaged
that?
him. I said, I need some of that money. No, he just didn't reply.
But no, I wasn't. I was bothered, but not at the same time. Again, like we spoke on before, a few years ago, I would have been really bothered by it. Now, just is what it is. I think I'd rather get back to lifting properly and not injuring myself again. Had I injured myself again in a qualifier, I'd have been really pissed off.
I suppose it's quite good. Quite a few competitions seem to be coming around the corner as well.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
like-
It probably was 3 or 4 weeks too soon. Had it been, say, 3 or 4 weeks away, the qualifiers, I'd have done them. But good to see a lot of other people getting involved though in the gym, watching them suffer instead of me for a change.
Yeah, I think we've got about 10 people enter from the gym in various categories. Shout out to Lloyd for putting it out there and going RX.
Did you go 3 times on that
Nah,
qualifier?
he went twice.
And 1 rep improvement.
He got 1 rep improvement. I hope he listens to this.
Poor Lloyd for
poor
1
Lloyd.
rep.
He
I
went-
hope it was worth it, Lloyd.
I said to him, mate, I saw you the first time, and that put me off doing it. And then the second time, he's gone again. I said, how many more did you get? Oh, he said, yeah, I beat it by a rep. And I was like, so you blew up pretty well on the first one. What did you do so badly on the second one? He's like, no, pretty much the same.
Nah, so the game plan going into the second one was he was do 7 all the way,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Oh mate, I think for the first 2 rounds we're just going to do 8." I think that's just too much. I think
That's a lot.
Well, I think just that 1 extra rep in those 2 rounds alone would have helped him. Like
Yeah.
it sounds weird, but I think it will. I thought it would have, kind of thing. But poor lad, come 247th.
Out of how many?
I think it's like 500 in there.
That's
Like,
good.
Yeah, it's quite good. It's
In
decent.
RX.
Yeah, it's his first competition, but he's going to do the next one Friday. Give him some stick for that. Dan entered the Masters, 35 plus, did well. I thought.
4th? Was it 4th?
Nah, he
It's-
comes 7th.
It's pushed back a few places again now because the age group online qualifiers, they got an extension.
Oh, they had more time.
They had more time to do it, so I don't actually know when the cut-off is for that. For the
Oh right.
teens and
Okay.
masters categories.
Do you know where he came?
I don't know. He did mention that.
He was like 7th on Sunday. I thought.
Yeah, so it was 7th on Sunday. And I think there's a few more people to put scores in, so I'm sure he'll drop back a few more places. But
Hopefully he can
hopefully
stay in the
stays
top 15.
Yeah,
That's
Um,
good. Is it top 15 qualify?
I think for the
Masters,
Masters,
yeah.
yeah.
That'll be a big achievement.
That'll be really good.
35.
I think Lisa was like 3rd, but at the time there was only like 8 people who put a score in.
Yeah, so it's, again, obviously a lot of people haven't put them in because they were doing the age group online qualifiers, and they got an extension. I don't know when
Yeah.
they got to put their scores in by.
So we had Ash did the intermediates. He put up a good score for that. That was 1 less calorie.
He moved well on that.
He did. I think he
moved very
got
well.
he got 114 burpees,
Yeah.
and he was 4th, I think, which is decent. We had Emily and Melody did the novices.
Rusty Mania.
Rusty Mania. Shout out Rusty, if you ever listen to this. And Grant did it as well. That humbled Grant, bless him.
It's a tough workout.
Yeah, I think you could tell he.
Did he go out hot or not?
No, I don't think so. I think he tried to kind of maintain a pace, but it's a hard workout. And it's just.
I think there's a drop off at some point. So when I did it, it was them rounds sort of 7, 8, 9 in there.
Psychologically,
it's tough. It is tough, especially if you've gone pushed at the start to a tough amount of burpees.
Yeah.
At some point, there's going to be a drop off in there that you've just got to try and grind out.
That format is hard as well because there's X amount of work you have to get done. So in that minute, so there's a panic of I need to get this done quickly. Your heart rate gets jacked up.
Yeah.
And
I thought. I mean, fair play to the people who did it twice. So Melody and Emily did it and didn't film it, and then I made them sign up, and then they realised they had to film it, so they both did it again on the Monday. Melody stopped.
They stopped after about 3 minutes because her boobs popping out of her bra.
Did.
Oh really?
So she had to put a t-shirt on. So she basically did it 3 times. But they both did really well. And Jenny Southey entered the teens. I don't know what age category. She must be 16, 17.
I think there's just one category for the teens now, actually.
Is it just teens?
Yeah, just teens.
Yeah.
Across the board.
I
but
don't
again,
know.
there was a delay in their scores going in because the age group online qualifiers as well.
Right, okay.
So I don't know where.
Any more American teen girls you've been looking at on Instagram, Bing, that have been up and coming? I just remember watching from episode 1. You said that there were quite a few promising.
What are you trying to imply there, Matt?
Just if you listen back to episode 1, which I did, I listened to the whole thing. You said there was some good talent coming through from America in the teenage division, not necessarily the boys because they found it harder to step up, but the girls were looking quite promising. That's all you said.
Yeah, I think, and in the if we're going to talk about the age group online qualifiers, I think that Mallory O'Brien, who was what was she, second, third in quarterfinals?
You said about it. That's crazy. That is crazy.
I think she literally won at the 5 workouts. She won 4 of them in her category and was third in the other one, something like that.
What, in the age group?
In the age group, well, yes. Yeah. She's 16, 17-year-old team.
She was like top. Was she like top 10 in the actual?
Oh, in the actual, she was top 5.
Top 5 for the actual adults.
Yeah, the adult ones. Yeah, and she obviously won the 16, 17-year-old age group online qualifier. Yeah.
Do you think the workouts favoured a younger, maybe potentially less developed athlete, or not really? Would that be a reason why she did so well in stats field, or not?
I don't know.
I mean, with a 4 rep max front squat and things like that, I don't think.
I think the fact that I had a heavy snatch in there and a moderately heavy snatch in there. I think it was 60 kilos in that workout for girls.
Yeah.
And
one
then,
maybe. Yeah.
And then obviously a 4 rep max front squat.
So no, basically.
No, I mean she's unbelievable.
She's legit.
Like, for 17 years old to be hitting those numbers.
I think she front squatted like 120.
Oh no!
Matt sat there thinking, "Oh dear."
Mate, you couldn't even spot that, mate.
Oh dear, that's heavy. That's a heavy weight though, isn't it?
Mate, that's
a big squat.
That's epic.
But, mate, that is a big squat
For a girl, yeah. No,
all right, Mister. I've got too much muscle.
No, it's a big front squat. Yes.
But yeah, no, Jenny did quite well. I think that's everyone from our box. I probably forgot someone, but sorry if I have. But qualifier 2's just come out and it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
So max cluster at the start and then 3 2-minute AMRAPs, isn't it?
Do you cluster is for?
So a cluster, for those of you, for the non-CrossFit listeners out there, is a full clean, so a squat clean into a thruster where you kind of stand up out of the squat and then just press it up overhead.
I don't know if the novice categories they're allowing a power clean front squat thruster.
Oh, are they?
I'm not sure if they do.
I'm not too sure. I haven't checked that. They've got to do a 2-rep max.
Are they?
Yeah. Well, that's the picture I see for
I
a
didn't
novice. It's a 2-rep max cluster. So yeah, it's a clean into a thruster basically. So that could be quite interesting. You would like that.
I see. I think a couple of videos up. 130-ish people were posting.
Oh really?
What's your best cluster?
130.
I've seen you do the 40 kilo dumbbells before for a cluster.
I've done 130. I mean, I've push pressed 140. So I'd like to think I've probably done
So you did 130 at Inferno. You tried to cluster it. You missed it. Brought it back down to your shoulders and push pressed it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And that was allowed.
It was allowed.
It
should have been allowed just for the audacity of it.
I think it was supposed to be a power clean push press, but I decided people were deciding to do a squat clean.
That was it. Yeah, some people were clustering it.
Yeah, it's just easier to get the momentum kind of thing, which I tried doing that and then failed and then push pressed it anyway.
Yeah, that was it.
Ridiculous.
But yeah, I'd like to think I've got more than 130 in the tank.
So what's the so that's part A essentially of the second workout. What's the second part?
3 2-minute AMRAPs.
They go straight
into each other. So you do first 2 minutes, you do 30 double unders, 15 pull-ups, 30 double unders, 15 pull-ups, as many rounds as you can. Straight in as soon as the clock hits 2, it's 30 double unders, 10 chest to bar pull-ups.
Okay.
And then at 4 minutes, straight into 30 double unders, 5 ring muscle-ups is what I saw posted, but someone has said that you could do ring or bar muscle-ups.
I think I was speaking to Russ yesterday, and he said because people are struggling with kit, some people are still locked down or haven't got access to a gym. They said bar's easier to come by, so you can do either. I think. I don't know whether that's true for the RX or Elite or whatever. I'm not sure, but he said that was the case for these.
I'm not sure, but I think that will be a tasty little workout. And get
shoulders on those muscle ups on the if it's ring muscle ups, shoulders after the double.
Very grippy too, I think, especially if you start moving quickly. That'll be quite grippy, and it doesn't look like you can really afford to mess up on the double unders.
Because 2 minutes isn't very long, is it?
For 6 minutes in total, you've just got to go hang on, unbroken on double unders, strap on that. It's a massive time on transitions. You need to be strapped on that pull-up bar, rope down, position so you can pick it up again next time you go back to it. Yeah. Strap on that bar, reps out, back to the double unders, and off you go again.
Well, it's because it's part A and part B all together. You can't keep restarting the workout either, can you? Because you put up a good weight and you keep doing that, you can't do that.
Yeah, you put a PB cluster or something like that, and you mess the workout up.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I've got to then try and match that lift again.
Yeah.
Or gauge it however you want.
You've got to get that one right, really, haven't you?
Definitely.
That'd be interesting. I mean, by the time this podcast comes out, the third one would have been announced, but
I think the only bit of kit left they announced was a box.
Oh, really?
From memory, yeah. There was barbell and plates.
I reckon they're going to put wall walks in.
I'm glad I'm not doing
it. No way. You reckon?
I reckon so, because that was in the open. It just crumbled people in the open. Bingo being the main guy, he got humbled.
How did they scale wall walks in the open?
It was like halfway.
That is a scale.
It was like halfway at the wall. You had to get both feet onto the wall.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, the scaled version. I can't. It was just like, I think you just have to get both feet up on the wall.
Right.
I don't shuffle your hands in a little bit and then come back down. Basically, I think that was it.
That's about all I did anyway.
Yeah, definitely towards the end anyway.
I like the look of that workout.
What, the open one?
Yeah.
I think you should give it a go. We could do commentary on here as you're going.
Oh, you sit here and watch me do it down there?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna get changed.
Can't see his legs against that wall.
Yeah, you probably would need binoculars to see his legs coming out.
Awful.
I think if your double unders went well, you would have done quite well on that, to be fair. Because wall walks, I think, you're pretty strong at.
Yeah, that'll be alright. You gave me shit for my double unders the other day, saying who was it asking about double unders, and you were like, you can only just do them. I was like, I whooped your ass in the open with the double under workout.
Yeah, backfired to be fair.
Toes to bar. He was like, I was only 500 of them. I was like, that's still quite a lot. Yeah.
What's the Matt? You put a question out. What kind of questions are we getting?
Some good ones. Some interesting.
Did you get some good caption responses?
Yeah, we did. It's disappeared now. It's longer than the 24 hours. I've got a picture. Is that a huffy? So for the caption, we're pointing in the red t-shirts at FitFest.
What's that, sir?
Is that a huffy?
What's a huffy?
I don't know.
I don't know what that means.
Someone needs to Google what a huffy is.
Who asked?
I don't think I want it.
Sarah asked if that was a huffy.
I don't know what a huffy is. Sorry.
No, mate, I haven't got a clue.
Just for reference, for those of you listening, Matty put a picture up on Instagram of me and Matty pointing into the distance. I need to put caption this.
That was at FitFest.
I'm sure there'd be some funny person who's like, "Oh, is that Jamie Cantwell?" Oh.
Wouldn't have been able to see Jamie Cantwell in the distance.
Where is it? Okay, I might not read some of these out because they're rude.
Well, how rude?
Look at that so-and-so doing curls in the squat rack. Good one. Zach, can you see that guy? Matt, who, him? Zach. Yeah, that's Jamie Cantwell.
Who put that?
That was Dan.
Daniel.
Is that Jamie Cantwell and Jamie Cantwell's girlfriend? What other ones do we get?
Is that Bingo trying to lose muscle mass over there?
That was from me. That was.
Oh dear.
Look at that shredded ginger bloke. He is godlike. How can we look like him? Any guesses who that is?
Who was that?
That's Wayne.
Wayne, the only thing shredded about you is your hair, mate.
What, like a shredded carrot?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, no, I'm not reading that one out. That's Rusty Mania taking the piss out my legs. That's not okay. Okay. So we had some good questions actually. If you could choose any other elite sport to do, what would it be? I'm guessing that's aimed at you, Bing, at an elite level.
Is that an elite sport that you're good at, or just
Just if you could choose any other elite sport to do, what would it be?
I play rugby league.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Have you dabbled with rugby league? I know you played.
No, I never played rugby league. I
Yeah.
think the way I played union, and just the way I sort of played in positional sort of.
Are there many
union.
clubs around locally
No,
that play?
I think,
it's more the northern.
I think
Is
Brooks. I think Brooks might have a team.
There is
Yeah.
an Oxford rugby league
Yeah,
team, but
yeah.
they went professional a good few years
Yeah,
ago.
and that's going to be a high level as well,
No,
isn't it?
straight into a high level. Kind of
Yeah,
thing.
it's
So
not-
I briefly had a look.
Rugby league's
That way,
very
but-
much kind of a northern thing,
Mm.
really,
Yeah.
isn't
I
it?
would have liked to give it a go, but as you say, it was too difficult around here. There's not enough participation in the south of rugby league. So, but yeah, rugby league I think is one thing I'd like to have had possibly like to be swimming, but I was never the right build to swim. I was alright swimming when I was growing up, but
Yeah, to go to the next level and
Get
to
to
be
the next
very
level
good,
of
you need to be
swimming.
tall and thin and long arms and jacked shoulders.
completely the opposite to me then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa. We need to answer. You two have got to answer that one.
Elite sport.
If you were good enough.
What would I like to do? It's a good one. Interesting. I like the idea of rugby. To be fair, probably union, not league. I don't know too much about league, but I like the culture and I like the camaraderie. I like the team. You know? I like the team, the whole ethos and stuff. And they're not as overpaid as footballers either. So they seem like
do you
decent
turn
blokes.
down that overpaid element though?
Would I?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. No, no. But I like the idea of that.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
What about
I
you?
think for me, like I played rugby growing up, played football and stuff like. I quite like the idea of like being really good at stuff like rock climbing and alpinism. I know it's
Yeah.
not like classed as an elite sport in the same way.
Yeah.
But just like stuff like that, like
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
a little
pretty
bit different. Like I don't know, like climbing Everest or something like that. Like
Yeah.
that, I thought like
Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome,
getting into
wouldn't
that young age and that kind of thing. Like I think that's just over the last few years I've been watching documentaries and I'm like, oh, that's pretty sick. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's probably the only difference because I played rugby and I played football and I boxed and stuff like that growing up and obviously done CrossFit. But yeah, maybe stuff like that.
I think jiu-jitsu would be cool as well. Imagine if you were
Brazilian
badass at
jiu-jitsu,
jiu-jitsu.
yeah.
How cool would that be?
especially these days, it's fucking flying.
Yeah, people are loving it,
Yeah,
aren't they?
they're
I wish
loving
obviously I've done every sport growing up, but I did judo when I was really young and was actually quite good at that. And just
standard.
Accidentally.
Matty, you did judo, didn't you?
I did judo, but that was when I was really little.
Ah,
and
right.
then taekwondo.
Yeah.
That was good fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I'd kind of stuck at the judo. I think it'd been pretty
Strong.
Good
been
skill
good.
to have.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah.
could-
Really strong doing that.
yeah, I like the jiu-jitsu.
You went to a Brazilian jiu-jitsu gym, didn't
I
you?
went for about 18 months.
Yeah,
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 it was
yeah.
good. I just
It's
yeah,
time.
well, it was time. Yeah,
Was it
so I'd
Cow-
go
was
every
it
lunchtime.
Cowley?
It was Cowley. So
Yeah.
the session was 90 minutes. I'd shower after, and then you'd have to allow half an hour, 40 minutes to get there and back. So like that was big. That was like 3 or 3.5 hours in the middle of the day. They did evenings as well, but
Yeah.
that was busy for work for me.
Yeah.
So when I started doing that, work was a bit quieter. That was however many years ago, 5, 6 years ago. So I could afford the time in the middle of the day. Work early, work late, didn't matter. And so it's the sort of thing you have to do quite regularly. As soon as you drop off, like it's so technical that just
Yeah,
doing
there's
it
a
more
lot
and more,
to
you
it,
can't.
isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
if you
such a
overthink
skill.
it, yeah, it's really tough. So you have to just go there and just submerge yourself in it, just do it. But then, yeah, that dropped off as work got busy, so I was going 2 or 3 times a week, and the same blokes would be there, like, well, here he is, he loves a good old scrap, this chap. So, let's give it to him, basically. But that was fine if you're going every.
You got battered every time you went in, basically.
Well, it was probably because the first time
They weren't saying he loves a good old scrap. He's like, oh, here's the easy target. We're going to fold in his clothes.
No
Look at
chance.
this little lad. Let's give him a beasting again.
I was actually quite good at that, but the first time I went, the instructors were doing the demonstration, you doing the warm up, which lasted about 20 minutes, and the last bit of the warm up was a handstand walk,
Yeah.
which obviously we'd done for years, so we're quite good at that. And so I remember watching this. The black belt would go first, and the brown belts, and all the belts, and then the white belts, and the beginners, and me completely new. So I think it was my first or second session. So I was watching them all go, and like the instructor got halfway down the mats or whatever, which wasn't very far, and they all like, yeah, and I was like, Oh no! I know I can walk there and back quite comfortably. If I do, they're all going to be like, "Look at this knobhead."
So what did you kick up and fall back down?
No, I kicked out. I walked all the way down, all the way back again. They were all like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Was that how you do it, mate?" And then they were like, "Oh, this bloke, we're going to give him a pasting."
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was good. It was good fun.
I
Set yourself up for failure, then, didn't
Big
you?
time.
Well, I like things that, like, one of the reasons why I said rock climbing is I've gone a few times with Bestie, and like by no means have I gone a lot, but like it's one of the most humbling things I've done. Like especially bouldering. Like
Yeah.
I give it a go. My grip's shit anyway.
Oh mate,
Christ.
Little
like,
things.
I've never had an arm pump like it, and like because you were quite strong, you try and manipulate it using your strength, not
Yeah.
your technique, and it's just like even worse. Like and like oh mate. It's humbling. Like I like obviously the kind of like
There's quite a lot of technique to it, isn't there?
There's
Just
loads of
keeping
technique.
your arms straight and all that kind of
even
stuff.
like just using like certain finger holds, like putting your thumb over your fingers to help like support grips, and how you place your feet against the wall.
Yeah.
Because like you should always like obviously with rock climbing shoes are meant to be like really tight on you, and you meant to put your toe on the end, but like the natural tendency is to put the side of your foot on the end.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that how you do it?
Yeah,
But
so
it's
you
not.
think your foot, obviously, if you put your side of your foot on, it's like a bigger surface area, but you're not. You're meant to just do it all on your toes, pretty much. I'm sure that's probably not true, but that's what, when I did my induction, that's what he said. It's like, because if your shoes are too loose, if they're like, say if you're like a size 10, you're meant to get like size 9 shoes. The rock climbing shoes are horrible to put on. They're meant to be so tight that they don't like, the shoe doesn't move, basically.
It's just your foot moving, I guess, not
Yeah.
the shoe.
But yeah, no, I really like stuff like that. I like the outdoors. I like endurance stuff anyway, like that kind of suffering. But yeah.
Those films with the you'll have to remind me what it's
Or
called.
the free solo and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Oh my
awesome,
God,
aren't they?
Yeah,
Like ridiculous.
that's what like because Bestie sent me that and I watched it, and that's the first thing I watched, and I was like, oh my god.
What's the one with the guy with Tommy who cut his thumb
Tommy
off?
Caldwell? That's
Is
called Dawn Wall.
Dawn Wall, awesome. Yeah,
That's
really good.
Unbelievable, and like it's just cool to, I don't know, like it's nice to do something like fitness related, but it have nothing to do with a gym.
Yeah, strength
kind
or
of
lifting
thing.
weights or anything
yeah,
like that.
exactly, and like it's just so different, and like it's so like it's good for your headspace.
Yeah.
Like I read a book once. This guy, they got a saying. It's a Navy SEAL book, and they got a saying about climbing. They come from climbing. It's like it's only you and your 3 foot world, and like it's a real good kind of analogy for life. It's like your 3 foot world is basically just what you and the immediate 3 foot around you, but that's all you can control. Like, and I really like that analogy because like everyone gets like worried about shit like in life, but you can control what you reach. And I just thought it was really cool when you got that from climbing. And like when you climb, you proper switch off.
Yeah.
Like
Well, you
it's
have
just-
to, don't you? You have to concentrate so
yeah.
much.
And I really like that. So I like that element of it. It's pretty.
And being outside is cool as well.
Yeah, that's pretty decent. I mean, I haven't climbed outside yet, but obviously like the trails.
Maybe not in the UK, in America. or
Apparently, there's some good climbing in the UK, like in the Lake District. and
Yeah, one
stuff
of
like
our
Yeah.
mates who we competed with 5150, Caroline, she's moved up to the Lake District
Has she?
recently, and she's been posting stuff on her Instagram. She's been climbing all over the place.
Yeah?
that. Oh wow, that's
They're
decent.
very cool.
Next question, mate. What we got?
Oh, there's a good one from.
Sophie Hall, actually. Did you ever have a conventional 9 to 5 job? If so, was it scary going full-time coaching?
Direct to you.
No,
Just people in
I
general.
haven't
guess.
had a 9 to 5, but I did like the same hours of shift work kind of thing. So I worked in a gym doing gym instructor stuff, like kind of duty manager style stuff as well, like 6 till 2 in the morning and 2 till 10 at night. I've never actually had a 9 to 5, but I suppose the only kind of, and you can speak to this as well, Matty, the only change I've had is dropping my guaranteed paid hours to go personal training, which I did when I worked here. I worked here for 2-3 years, and then I reached a point where I was getting a few too many clients, not like it's a bad thing, and then I made the decision to drop that guaranteed work and just do personal training. I taught a few classes as well. That was quite daunting.
Big time.
Yeah, it's kind of scary. You proper start, you get a bit like worried about losing clients, or even if a client doesn't turn up, you get a bit like, oh my god, is he going to come back? I suppose. And then another change from that was starting CrossFit Didcot. Like we got a lot of hate originally, kind of thing, because we were going off and setting up another gym. I know it wasn't me financially setting it up, Joe set it up, but me and Sam and Tombo had a lot to do with it initially, and then we got you involved. That's Matty. That was a risk because, like, I don't know, it felt like I burnt a lot of bridges here.
Stepping
initially
away from
by
something that
by doing that. I mean, obviously, like, that was just back then. But yeah, that was nerve-wracking. Like, you go from a gym like this, where, you know, good facilities, guaranteed clientele coming in, to, you know, a building on rich sidings, which was a dump
with a portaloo outside.
yeah. I mean, the toilet outside was a portaloo, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was
originally. Shipping container,
it was
wasn't
an
it?
ISO container, yeah.
Or was it a portaloo before that?
No, it was an ISO container.
Was it
Yeah.
initially the first thing?
We just had one male toilet in an ISO container, and then the females had.
There was portaloos there at one time, wasn't
Yeah, so that was when we refurbed it.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was a big risk, I thought.
A huge risk.
Them toilets.
Yeah, and then but it boomed straight away, CrossFit. Like, I was surprised how much it boomed by. But, you know, we even had difficulties like later on with stuff like that. You know, we lost a lot of members when, you know, Joe, bless him, hit the VAT threshold, had to increase the membership price, and, you know, things were hard for him to improve the building and improve the kit in it, just because of the way the business worked. And you know, we lost a lot of members, and then me and Sam took it on and basically had to kind of start again. Like, we started with like half the members we had, and it took a long time. Obviously, you know, you guys massively helped with that. But yeah, so I haven't had the experience of like going from a 9 to 5 to full-time coaching, but I suppose I've experienced changes, like, which you, I don't know, like anyone, I suppose. I mean, that's not,
well, I think, like you said,
definitely not unique.
Yeah, it's
Yours is a good change, because you went from working full-time, then you lost your job, and then you worked full-time with Darren.
Yeah.
And then you then you really took a risk and just dropped it and started personal training, because you're working so hard you couldn't really fit many clients in anyway.
Yeah, I was literally at capacity.
So you basically dropped your work and started PTing with a really small client base, and it grew really quickly. But like, it's not like,
the guaranteed stuff, exactly right. Yeah, so I had a few clients who were doing quite a few sessions, so I relied on those to do quite a few sessions. So if I lost one of those people, that would have been a big impact. So if I had 6-7 clients who were all doing a couple of sessions a week, I could fit that in. But yeah, I did a sliding scale with the work that I was doing, less hours, and then more PT and stuff, and just built the client base up like that. But yeah, had been coaching. So you did your PT course. I was on the one immediately after, wasn't I? Literally, so we'd done it at the same time. And then I'd just been training with people.
Not long after.
Yeah, across the course. And then just you build your client base up like slowly, like organically, I guess, because you can't just go from having nothing, no job, to trying to build up a business. It just doesn't work. You need to.
Because I think you could tell. I obviously I started personal training. I was lucky because I got a job in a gym after I finished my PT course. You weren't so lucky. You kind of just went into normal work for a while, didn't you?
Yeah.
And then you probably got involved in personal training and actually training people 2 or 3 years after you did the course.
It took a bit. Yeah, I just was training friends, family, just smashing training myself, really.
Yeah. So I think by the time you started personal training, I downed my personal training a little bit and just focused on a kind of few clients and more of the classes. But you can see how you've grown as a personal trainer really quickly, and like how you are with people. You could almost tell that when you first started personal training, you were really nervous. Not nervous in like, because you're not a nervous person, but you were so focused.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, you know, you'd be like, "Hi, Matty," and you'd be like, "Hi."
Just
like little wave, like in the corner,
clients.
like you wouldn't speak to anyone else.
So true.
Which is, I get that. But that's the kind of risk, I suppose. Or not the risk, but the worry. You're so worried about obviously keeping your clients.
So true.
And
it's a long time ago as well, isn't it?
It was.
It's a long time ago.
Bingo, mate. Like, how has it felt for you going from, like, you had a pretty busy job working for that electrician guy, and you were quite busy. It was like you had long days, and then how does it work for you from going to a better paid job and doing fuck all, like, all the time?
The dream.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which isn't full-time coaching, by the way.
No, you're right. Obviously I work for Network Rail now, which isn't a 9 to 5, but
Shift work.
It's shift work basically. Yeah, we do nights and stuff like that, which is why I can be in the gym a lot, as well as my day shifts, which I'm still in the gym a lot. Originally when we first started CrossFit, I had a pretty much working in the office for an electrical company after I'd done my apprenticeship and stuff like that. We wasn't getting into the gym till 5 o'clock in the evening, do my training. But then I guess I was more of a beginner in CrossFit, so it didn't matter so much. It was more
just the one class a day.
One class a day was enough, and maybe a bit extra.
Stick around after, and we'd be like, right, let's do some pull-ups, or try some muscle-ups, or do a snatch, or whatever.
Do a bit of skill practice afterwards, kind of thing, for a couple of years, and then that's how I moved across the Network Rail and
became a semi-pro athlete.
Yeah, pretty much. Just I had more time on my hands.
Electrician, and then full-time athlete.
Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, I do have time in the day these days to
And
most of the time. I mean, there are weeks when I do struggle to get all the sessions in, but I just have to work around it a lot of the time. I mean,
first world problems there.
Yeah, I mean, some evenings I have to come back in at 9 o'clock at night and do my second session.
Oh,
know?
no.
I know. Can you imagine?
Yeah. You do some coaching as well, to be fair. Like,
Yeah,
just
I've done.
just not full time.
Yeah, not full time. Do a bit of coaching and helping out where I need to and that kind of stuff. But yeah, not got a 9 to 5 as such.
Not at all. Far from it. Lewis has asked, if you were both starting CrossFit for the first time tomorrow, where do you begin?
Fundamentals, like basically, like I think the fundamentals of any exercise. Well, sorry, I know. I think the most important thing to be able to do into CrossFit is squats efficiently, hip hinge efficiently, and prep. And let's say do overhead work kind of efficiently, because then you can pretty much do everything.
Yeah.
Squatting especially, because so much involves squatting, and then obviously with the hip hinge for things like deadlifts and cleans, like having them nailed down. Like I wouldn't worry so much of being able to like Olympic lift really well or do whatever really well. Have those kind of things, because if you can air squat, you can back squat, you can front squat, potentially over a squat if you're mobile enough. You can do wall balls, you can do goblet squats, you can do hundreds of other things. If you can hip hinge, you can deadlift, you can kettlebell swing. So I would say like they're the most important things, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean I know there's a lot more to it than that, but just having those fundamentals, being able to squat well, correctly.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think we've touched on it over the past few weeks. It's just the basics, learning the basics before you try and do anything slightly more. Walking before you can run. Yeah,
well, because everything's got a process. So like take a snatch for example. That's probably the most complicated Olympic weightlifting move out of the two. But the process, the movements involved in a snatch, at its very basic point, is a squat. So a full snatch, and then you'd move on to an overhead squat, and so on.
So if you can't air squat properly,
you ain't going
to snatch properly.
Yeah, and that's the same with so many exercises.
Yeah,
definitely.
To get that nailed down, definitely.
Yeah, literally hit the basics well, move well, teach your body to move in the right.
I think also. Then just to level that up, because that's obviously the absolute fundamental, and then moving forward. So for someone who's done gym work before or wants to transition from doing, so Lewis has done bodybuilding and bits and pieces like that, but they're moving to CrossFit.
What would you say would be the next thing? So if he's like, he can squat, he can air squat, he can do press ups and all that kind of stuff. He's got the residual strength that we would all say, because we all did strength training before, and all of the good CrossFit people who train have got some sort of background in strength training. That seems to be the case, doesn't it? No one comes into CrossFit and then is very, very good at CrossFit if they aren't very strong.
So I say it's like kind of shifting your mentality. So there's a few things. One of them is, and this is a very broad sweeping statement, but if you bodybuild, you're training muscles essentially. It's what you're doing. CrossFit, you train movements. And they're different things. They involve the same thing, but
they're completely different
things. And like when you get into CrossFit, you have to understand that when you do a certain thing, is you're training movements to help better a goal, which is to increase work capacity, right?
They're basically opposite, aren't they? You don't want as much time and attention on your legs because they're going to get fatigued, they're going to get knackered when you're doing squats.
Yeah, because it's all performance based and doing this. So like, and there's certain things involved with training movements that I think is really important, and one of them is the core to extremities, understanding that aspect of it, that it all comes from your core, like your midline. I'm not just talking about your abs, I'm talking about your midline. The ability to, we just talk about hip hinging and deadlift, that's, it starts through the middle, being braced through there, understanding that. And it's quite difficult, I think it's quite difficult to explain like in a podcast, but that's the kind of fundamental difference. Like when you're bodybuilding, you can focus on training a muscle group, which is great. That's really important. But with CrossFit, you will focus on training movements. But there's stuff involved in that, which for safety reasons you need to understand. So like core to extremities being a big thing. Like if you try and clean a bar from the floor, and I don't know, just try and rip it off the floor with your arms without bracing your midline, there's going to be problems there. And that's the same with all exercises. If your core goes in the negative phase of the squat, loads can happen.
Yeah, everything comes back to the core.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What would you say, Matty? Like with that?
Yeah, I completely agree. If you're, if definitely if you're coming from bodybuilding, that is the difference,
Yeah.
and you're very much isolating
Yeah.
muscles and stuff.
Because I feel like a lot of the stick body, because like CrossFit's always had stick, right? And a lot of the stick it gets is from people with certain different kind of training methodologies. So from a bodybuilder or a weightlifter or a powerlifter, and people tend to criticise it from their point of view.
Yeah.
So they'll criticise CrossFit, and I've heard a lot of people say this, like, you know, kipping pull-ups, they don't work your back the same way as a strict pull-up is. That's absolutely true.
They're not meant to.
They're not meant to.
That's not the goal.
Because a bodybuilder will do a strict pull-up to train his back and his arms, right? Whereas a CrossFitter does a kipping pull-up to increase work capacity. And like, we do strict pull-ups to improve our ability to do kipping pull-ups. We just look at it in slightly different ways.
Yeah.
And I think, and like a weightlifter will be like, oh, a snatch is not meant to, you're not meant to do a snatch 30 times. Well, no, you're not in weightlifting.
Yeah, for weightlifting.
Yeah.
For the max amount of weight you can lift, doing 30 of them isn't going to get you stronger for your absolute lift.
Exactly. The end goal of CrossFit is completely different, and you know, a good coach will make sure that you don't lift 90 to 100% of your snatch 30 times in a session. You shouldn't be able to do that, but that's why we scale and that kind of stuff. So, on that, that's where I'd say, like, where a lot of the criticism of CrossFit comes. It's completely different, but it incorporates everyone else's stuff.
Yeah.
But for a different purpose.
Yeah. And also it's more enjoyable, right? A lot of people find they get fed up with the gym after a year or two if they're just doing the same sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's probably really effective. Well, it is really effective.
Yeah.
But it's not very effective if you do it on and off because it's quite boring. You know, if you do 2 or 3 sessions in 1 week and the next week you're doing 1 or maybe not so many and then 4, you're not being very consistent.
That's one thing with CrossFit. There's so many different elements to train. You could be working on your strength, you can be working on your gymnastics, you can work on your endurance, you can be working on so many different parts of it. You don't get bored.
Yeah, it keeps
so
it interesting.
Variety of the ways to train.
100% true. Like, a program's only effective if you do it, right? Whatever that is, all right? So like, you know, a bodybuilding program is super effective if you do it.
Yeah.
And like, you know, not many people do it because bodybuilding to do properly is hard.
Yeah.
It's very hard. Like, because obviously you've got
Unless you're big.
Unless you're big and you're desperate to lose muscle mass.
Getting rid of it is a nightmare.
He's selling it in the park, though. He's selling it down the
He's
gym.
accidentally put 3 kilos on, just sat here drinking his rain.
What drink was that again?
It was a can of Rain Total Body Fuel. Melon Mania.
Not your favourite?
I don't mind melon. It's the berry one that's not the best.
But yeah, no, like, I think, like, so the CrossFit is successful because it facilitates that for you. Do you know what I mean? So, like, you know, like I say, going to the gym, bodybuilding. I love bodybuilding. I'm a fan of it. I really enjoy it. But it's hard to do on your own. And very few people can actually do it on their own effectively. There'll be people who train like a bodybuilder, but they don't see the results of that. And that's the same with I'm not just slating on body, and it's definitely not slating towards bodybuilders because I love it, but it's the same with anything. The only thing CrossFit does differently is the program it delivers is facilitated in a way that people can do it, do it regularly.
Yeah.
That's where it's been successful. Like, obviously the programming works from a CrossFit point of view. It makes you better at CrossFit and general fitness, which is what it wants to do. But the most important thing is it gets people to do it, and that's
for the majority of the population, just moving, exercising, training with some structure. They'll see unbelievable results compared to what they've been doing before, which might be nothing or might be some general gym stuff. The results are crazy. I think CrossFit doesn't get anywhere near as much stick as it used to. I think it's much more accepted. I think lots of people enjoy doing it, and they take parts of CrossFit and put it into their training. I think it's awesome.
I think you see people even here in the fit zone. You look over and they'll be doing dumbbell snatches and all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying that's CrossFit, but
it's functional movements, and they've added some intensity to their training. It's great.
Where people have got these movements from is because of CrossFit.
I honestly don't think you can criticise something you can completely bias to yourself. So, like, you know, like I said before, someone will come up to me and say, I won't do CrossFit because I don't like kipping pull-ups. And I'm like, well, don't do kipping pull-ups. You can do CrossFit and not do that particular movement if you've got a legitimate reason for not liking them. Like, you can't knock it. I think you can look at it from a point of view that, so like Eddie, who I train, it wouldn't be smart of me for me to do a CrossFit program with him. I can take bits from CrossFit and do it with him, but like it's pointless me doing like 21:59s all the time, and like, you know,
he needs something very specific
it's
for his
sport specific.
Yeah.
So there's certain things like a professional footballer, like in season and stuff like that, a rugby player for that matter. Like there's certain things where like it's probably not the best thing for them, but it's not a bad thing to take bits from. And like I've never understood the hate. I think a lot of it's kind of jealousy, and it's the new thing.
Misunderstanding of it as well, and then badly coached as well. But as the more people learn about it, and the more
I think people see on social media, who's that? Look at that idiot doing kipping pull-ups. Like, that's just an injury waiting to happen. But that's just a clip on social media that someone's seen. They haven't seen all the strict pull-ups that you've done previous to that. They just think CrossFit is just do kipping pull-ups. Yeah. And that's it.
And also, and CrossFitters aren't the only ones to have bad technique. Like, we could go in the gym now, and there'll be lads doing bicep curls incorrectly.
That's so true.
Kipping bicep curls.
Kipping bicep curls. but that's been a thing for years, right? Like, that kind of thing. Half rep bicep curls, all that kind of stuff. Like CrossFit's not unique. There are people who do exercises wrong in CrossFit, but there are equally the same amount of people who do exercise wrong in a gym anyway. Like it's always a bit of a rant, but it's always kind of got me.
I think it's much more widely accepted now, and people recognise, like you said, you can take bits of it, and you can make your sessions fun instead of being pretty mundane, pretty average. Because you get bored. You must have done the same when you started going to the gym, bench press, bent over rows and all that kind of stuff, which is good, serves a purpose. But when you then compete and do it with some intensity with other people, it's just a completely different experience.
For me personally, I probably made, in 3 months of doing CrossFit training, made more gains, if you want to put it, than I did a couple of years and just going to the gym.
Probably because you were doing it more.
Because you were doing it more, you were consistent.
You were consistent.
Completely.
100%.
So I would say I think he's in a pretty good shape starting out, because he's done bodybuilding and stuff like that. So he's got a good amount of strength. But I would say get used to the movements first, and then take some basic movements and then put them into a CrossFit workout. So instead of trying to put really technical movements in that you're not familiar with, work on the skill at the start, and then do the basic movements that you're happy with, and add some intensity to that. And then when you get proficient with the movement, then add intensity.
Well, it very much should be in the order of like mechanics, consistency, and intensity. That's really important. Like, you need to learn to move well, then you need to consistently move well, and then you can start doing things at intensity.
Yeah, I mean, once you start moving well, everything becomes easier.
100%.
If you don't move well to start with and you try and move on to the next level, one, you're going to risk an injury anyway, and two, you're sort of limiting your progression.
You're making it harder for yourself, right? If if you went up against Matty and your air squat was better and it was 150 air squats for time, just by having a more efficient squat for 1 rep, over 150 reps, it's easier for you. And you look at people who are successful in the sport, they are now really efficient at everything. They're not leaking energy, not wasting energy. It's all
the amount of time Fronin used to say in his old videos of how long he'd air squat for, and practice getting his squat absolutely perfect, because he recognised that it saved so much time, and that was 10 years ago.
I read Ben Bergeron does stuff like that. So after the games, they'll spend a period of just redoing things like air squats and basic kip. You've done lots of kipping recently,
just kipping, just kip swings
stuff
and things like that. Yeah.
So to answer his question,
he also threw grit and dirt all over Katrin. So
in the middle of some burpees, and just kick some mud in her face.
Tell her she's doing X amount, and then 2 minutes later, double it.
Did you say was it Lewis who asked that question?
Yeah, it's a good question.
So it was good. I would say to him is just focus on the fundamentals. It's not. It's like I say, CrossFit's not really good because it does fancy shit.
Yeah.
It just does fundamental stuff really well over and over again, basically.
Yeah. Karen Kazmarjo, what inspired your interest in CrossFit?
What inspired your interest?
So for me, I was chatting to Stu from the gym earlier about this. I was never particularly good at the usual gym stuff. I wasn't good at bodybuilding, that style of training. I was never great at the more CV based stuff. But I randomly just started training with I wasn't doing CrossFit originally, but I was doing just random circuits, but what would now be similar to kind of CrossFit, right?
Yeah.
I'd do I'll do as many rounds as possible in 20 minutes of 5 dumbbell press, 5 pull-ups, 5 burpees to the pull-up bars, just stuff like that, but basic kind of gymmy movements. And that got me fit. That got me, at that time, I was this is the only thing I've ever done where I'm
feeling good.
Feeling good. And then like CrossFit in the UK just started, like you started hearing about it, and at first I was like, man, screw this CrossFit. Like they're just basically copywriting what I'm doing. That's kind of what I did, right?
Created by Zach Mundy.
Yeah, that's it. And then I don't know. So when I mentioned earlier about dropping my hours here, I was doing personal training. I just got like a little bit lost. I was unsure whether I wanted to carry on with personal training or, you know, as you do. And I just see CrossFit. My mum actually looked into it as well, and I booked onto a course, and I randomly said to Stevie, like, mate, I'm doing this CrossFit course. And he's like, oh yeah, sounds good, mate. Like,
I'll come along.
So he come along with me, and like, and I was really impressed. Like, I've done quite a few courses. At the time I'd done a lot of S&C courses, and for a weekend course, I was really impressed when I went. And like, obviously, like, not like it matters that I was impressed, but I was really skeptical of it before, because I honestly thought they basically just copyrighted fitness, essentially, instead of defining fitness, which I think they've done really well. I thought they've just taken what we're all doing, basically put it all together in mad crazy workouts and called it something. But so I went on the course, and then I like when he did all the programming segment of it, and I was like, oh wow, this is actually really good, and there's a lot to it. And I'd done a little bit of Olympic lifting because I'd done some S&C courses, and I was like, wow, this is sick. Like, I did Fran on the course, I learned to kip on the course like we used to do in our foundational classes here, and I did Fran. Awful. I got spanked. Like there was a lad on there, I can't remember his name, but he's quite good now. I'll remember his name and I'll tell you after the podcast, because I'll probably remember it by then. But he did it in he did it in 212. He had Fran in 212.
Nice.
And I was just like, because I remember beforehand we were like lining up to do it, and everyone was like shitting themselves, and he was like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna smash this and stuff. And I was like, who's this loser?
Was he doing butterfly?
Yeah, he was doing like butterfly
so
punches
he's
at the
legit
time.
back then. He knew.
Yeah, and especially at then, because that was like 2013, that looked like, oh my god, right? Did that course, and I was just like, man, I've got the bug for it. I absolutely love it. Did the Open 2013, did all the workouts, did shit, thought I was good, and then I got introduced to Joe through Sam's ex, Ryan, and just got into it for there. Obviously got you into it. I made Tombo do the course.
Yeah, you did it. We did it at the park club there. We used to do bar muscle ups.
Yeah, my first ever workout I did on my own was the 540. It was like 50 overhead lunges.
They made me do it, I think, the next week or something.
It was 50 overhead lunges with a 20 kilo plate. And like, we could blitz this workout now, but at the time it took like 20 minutes. So it's 50 overhead lunges with a 20 kilo plate, 40
Was it pull-ups,
30 thrusters, 42 and a half,
20
bar burpees, and then 10 power cleans.
So 60.
10 squat cleans at 60.
10 squat cleans at 60.
And mate, at the time that was just like,
legit workout.
Yeah, this is sick. Like, I've done it years later and just done it broken, like, kind of thing. But at the time, like, pull-ups, I'd jump up, I'd do like 4, because I could only do like strict at the time. It took me ages. My
I was
arms
good at
were
that, and then I got to the 60 kilo squat clean. I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
No rep, first rep in.
Yeah, mate, that's how I got into it. And I tell you what, like, I fucking love CrossFit. I honestly think it's the best thing since sliced bread. I've never seen people like progress and improve and get better from themselves
collectively as well.
in any other fitness methodology. And it's also just made me appreciate like athleticism of people. Like, some of the things I've seen from the likes of Bing, from the likes of you, like, just do the things I've seen you guys do, I'm like, holy shit. And like, I've done things as well with myself where I could never dreamed of doing. Like things like when I first got into fitness, like, I could only do like one pull-up, right? Like, you know, now I can do like, well, probably not right now, but like, you know, I could near on 30 pull-ups, like, strict, right? And like, but that's because of CrossFit, and it's the mentality CrossFit's given me as an approach to training, where it's just made it fun for me. Yeah, that's it for me. I mean, well, what about you, Bing? Like, I know we said how you got into it, but
What's that mean?
What was the actual question?
What inspired your interest in CrossFit?
I think originally it was just the competitive side of things. I've always, whatever I've done, it's been competitive sport. And as soon as you stepped in the gym and it was a case of you're racing somebody else.
Yes.
All of us in there together, just pushing yourself to that limit and realising actually when you're racing somebody you can push harder than you think, and you're willing, just because you're so competitive, you're willing to just die, just to win, just to put that score on the whiteboard.
especially
you
early
didn't care.
days.
Early days, we were awful for it, weren't
Yeah.
we? Like so competitive.
Even as a coach, man, like
I mean,
if a
Matty, you'd go out on that first 400 metre run, and Matty would push you over around the first corner because he wanted you first.
yeah.
Wanted to
Simple
win,
as that.
100%. I wanted to.
And then I'd do exactly the same back.
I remember I used to I'd drive out and say Nick would be driving in and we'd cross each other, wind our windows down. It was literally like, oh, what score did you get? And he'd ask me, and then he'd go and probably beat me, and I'd be messaging him saying, oh, what score did you get, mate? And that was just a workout.
That was life, though, wasn't it?
That was
the most important thing in the
I
day.
think for me, that was the main part of it. That obviously it's progressed at different levels and all sorts now, but that originally, that first, the first year of doing it was just so competitive between us all, and we had a good group, and it was just loved that thought of going in.
Just trying so hard to win,
And as much as that pain, after work, you're in pain on the floor. There's nothing like it as well.
Yeah.
It is just to
When
be
you
in
know
such
you've done it
pain
good.
on the floor.
And I think what was really good about it as well is there was always
That's a
something
sick way
you
of
were bad
thinking,
at.
but
There was always something you were pretty shit at.
definitely.
Someone was shit at
I
something.
mean, because there is so much involved as well. Like I say,
Humbles you.
yeah, you can't do certain movements, and then there's so many little goals you can set yourself that are achievable.
Yeah.
In a couple of months' work, you can get that. You can get a muscle up. You can do this. You can do. If you put the want to put the work in, you're willing to put the work in. You can just do all sorts that you don't think you're capable of. I mean, handstand walking for me when I first started, I've never been able to handstand walk.
Nor did I. You two would do it. You'd put it in a workout in the sports hall.
You could
be like,
even,
we're doing a handstand walk.
You could even do a handstand against a wall,
Fuck,
man.
they're doing it again. They know I can't do that.
You couldn't even do a handstand against a
I
wall.
was awful.
Yeah.
Awful. My coordination at handstands was terrible.
You remember them Wednesday sessions? You used to program double unders just because I could do
used
it.
to have
Laugh.
hundreds of them, didn't I?
Yeah, I stand there
You'd be
laughing
like
at me.
double unders like
But
this.
even
Me and
like-
Bing would watch like, what? No.
Yeah.
How can you do that?
Even I remember your overhead squat.
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah, I mean, Matty's, yours was...
Mine was terrible
yours
as well.
was bad
Yeah,
as well,
yeah.
But
Just hold it out in front of me like this.
Yeah.
That's not a red squat, man.
Yeah, that.
But that's just been cool to even looking back now, the shit, you being the progress you've made to the weights you're lifting. I remember when you got your first 100 kilo snatch.
Yeah, me too. I was thinking exactly the same thing. Those Adidas lifters.
Yeah, I know. I just remember those kind of little benchmarks. I remember when Midwinter hit a 120 clean. I remember when you hit that 120 snatch balance, Matty. You went for a phase of doing loads of snatch balances. It was just oh shit, that's epic.
Yeah.
Or when some of the girls got their first muscle up. I remember when Kirsten got her first muscle up. I remember when Tash got her first muscle up, and that's awesome. It all sticks with you. It's such a cool thing.
Little things like that. Yeah, that mate. That's what got me across a bit kind of thing. Or them little, hit little milestones and that sort of thing. And
when your mates are doing that or doing something you're close to, or you're thinking, I'd be able to do that, and they can do it, you're like, that's going to make me work hard to do it.
Definitely.
Otherwise, you just wouldn't care. It just doesn't matter.
Which is why I think, obviously, the class environment's the best way to get that, because you've got people around you supporting you, doing that, cheering you on, and that sort of thing. Yeah.
It's kind of what's made me continues to love it is just some of the stuff at competitions. And it's not necessarily just going to compete in. Going to that box rocks and bingo, you got food poisoning. And me and Nick were up in the morning looking for some Imodium, and you vommed after the first event.
It was a 3K run, and then we went into some other little paired thing up the golf.
Was that
pitch.
the handstand walk thing as well?
Yeah, that was it. You had to handstand walk back. You had to do something up here. I remember.
Yeah.
Walk back.
Yeah,
there's a picture from Box Rocks. Is it that one?
Yeah, did the 3K run. Then was walking to a position. I had to run to the edge and spewed over the edge.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then we went stuff like that. When we went to Inferno, as lads, Matty, you were sick again. But we went out with Spence, Tom Wiles, and that, and everyone got battered.
Rolled in at 3 a.m.
Yeah,
with the upper 6 to compete.
Well, I didn't get battered, standard. I went home, but Bestie had slept outside Midwinter's room. We're using his foam roller as a pillow. Midwinter's mattress ended up outside the window.
Midwinter's a liability though.
Yeah.
When we went to watch you and Nick at was it TAC?
TAC, yeah.
It was TAC. It was
Got
in
in
Manchester.
just get in the shower with you. Or something.
Yeah, so you was all taking in turns for obviously the bathroom. The hot water was running out, so I was way down the pecking order, basically second to last. And then Midwinter still hadn't been in, so as the doors open as I'm showering, I'm like, "You alright, mate? You brushing your teeth or what?" He goes, "I'm just gonna get in while it's still hot." And I was like, "What?" So yeah, he ended up in the shower as well.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just been cool, and it just from the start, and then just to grow to what it's been and sort of stuff. Yeah, it's been good.
What's a sensible amount of days to train? That's a good question, Karen. Again,
That's very individualised.
Yeah, it depends on you as a person and what your goals are.
Work life and
Okay,
home
so-
life, family.
So on that is so Bing just mentioned it's very important what your goals are. So for a lot of people, say if your goal is to lose weight, it's very important that you prioritise the stuff outside of the gym as well with that. So like obviously eating and stuff, but just moving more, walking, all that kind of stuff. And then train 3 or 4 times a week if you can. It doesn't matter if you're only getting 2 sessions. It doesn't matter if you're only getting 1 session. As long as you're doing all them other things, then that's fine. Obviously, Ben, you can speak more about the competitive side of things. Like,
yeah, I mean, I probably for the last 2 years now, I'd say I've probably some days do 2 sessions a day. So I mean, look at 8 sessions a week.
yeah,
I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people that compete at this sort of level that do more than that.
yeah.
But
And there's probably people who do less as well.
yeah, and there's some that do less as well. Yeah, compete and only do the 1 session a day that they can fit in as well. It's not necessarily more is better, but when you get to a certain level, there's so much to work on.
Yeah, you need to dedicate a good amount of time to do it, don't you?
You do.
And I think what's an important point actually about that is you couldn't do that when you started. You couldn't train that amount, so you had to train that amount. If you know what I mean.
To train twice a day, so it's literally been the last couple of years, and I've been doing it 6-7 years now. There's no way I could have been doing 2 sessions a day, or needed to do 2 sessions a day, because there's no point unless you're at maybe say a certain level. There's just no point. You need to get.
Yeah, I think for 90% of the people who come here, even for a lot of people who do it competitively, 1 session a day, 5 times a week, because
that's a lot of training.
That's a lot of
for
training.
a normal person. That's a lot of training.
And you've got to remember that rest is where the magic happens. Almost. That's where you recover. That's how you get
strong. A lot of people overlook that thing. Just train every single day, 7 days a week, and never let their body recover properly.
It's tempting because we've done that. We've all done that, haven't we?
I have 2 set rest days every week.
Yeah.
Thursdays and Sundays, or Saturday, Sunday, whichever one I train. I'll have 2 rest days.
So if you don't rest, you won't get better, because training at the end of the day is catabolic. Like, your body will break down, and the recovery is what builds your body back up. So Karen, do what's right for you. Like, it's got to be what's right for you.
I also think 2 or 3 really structured progressive sessions per week is way better than 5 or 6 half sessions or killing yourself. Killing yourself for 6 sessions. If you go really hard, 2 or 3 really decent structured sessions with some intent behind them and decent programming, you're going to see way more return on that investment of time.
If you find yourself coming in for 5 or 6 sessions a week, but they're all a bit half-assed
because you're knackered or
you're tired or whatever else, you're better off just saying, okay, next week I'm just going to do 3 sessions, but I'm going to in them 3 sessions, I'm going to give it everything. Push myself.
But equally, if you can recover and you're feeling good and you've got everything else, like you said, outside of the gym in line, and you're feeling good and you're making progress, crack on, enjoy, do it. Exactly.
Don't feel like you need to do it. Feel like you want to do it.
Yeah, do it.
Because I think that's a point. Like Bing was saying, like people, especially like working in a normal gym, you see loads of people join in January. Say what people tend to do. The reason why they don't last is they just go too hard at the start.
Yeah, they do.
They do too many sessions at the start. They train too hard. If you just start off saying, I'm just going to go 3 times a week and just do 3 times
do
a week.
Do day on, day off. Just get consistently doing that.
Yeah. That's what I'd say.
It's true, I'd say, for running as well. The people who start running in January to try and lose weight hate running. They've got no intention of sticking to running. They'll do it
every day for 2 weeks.
Yeah, literally.
And not conditioned to it.
Yeah, exactly. Just choose something you can stick to.
So one more question, mate.
One more. Best nutritional advice to complement this type of training.
CrossFit.
Yeah. This is for CrossFit.
Very
this is
much.
Karen again.
Ends with N and ends with O's. Nando's. No, don't listen to me. I'm shit.
That ends with an S, mate.
O's. I said O's. Ends with O's. Nando's.
Oh, right. Okay.
Like,
so
not O's plural, actual O's.
Right. Yeah.
I know Nando's, but it ends with an S.
I'm just making sure. Again, I think it depends on whether you're doing it just for general fitness or you're doing a performance.
Yeah, definitely. It depends again if you want to lose weight or if you want to maintain or what the goal is there. But if you're for a lot of people who want to lose weight, what I'd say is try and be consistent first of all. So instead of the kind of nutrition that's going to complement it, just try and find a base where you feel comfortable, where you've got control of what you're doing, so it's not really sporadic. So you're kind of a bit of a routine, and then try and figure out, try and look at what you're doing and see where the areas you can improve on, basically. But
I think a lot of people go into it and think, Monday to Friday, I'm going to starve myself as such. Well, not starve myself, but eat quite a big calorie deficit, and it's not sustainable. It gets to the weekend and they're just going to binge.
Yeah, that's definitely true, and then they're not fueled for the training session.
I think it's similar, like what we kind of said with training. Like what you said about running, Matty, is a lot of people try to make drastic changes to their nutrition too quickly, and you know, I'm not as clued up on nutrition as you two, but for me, I've always been like just some small changes.
Yeah.
Like, you know, for most people, say for example, if their goal is to lose a little bit of weight, it's just a case of obviously a calorie deficit, isn't it? So like, just remove a couple of things, and I'm not talking big things, but like just remove a few things. Let's say if you're having a chocolate bar a day, just remove that. Like,
I mean, I'd even start with just having it every other day, depending on obviously who you are,
stuff like that.
How big a change you want to take. Just every other day. If you're having one every day,
do it over time. Don't overcomplicate it. If you want to go down the performance route, there's obviously more to it. But I think for me especially, like in people who just want to lose a little bit of weight, I'd say don't overcomplicate it. Make some small changes that you can sustain.
Yeah.
And
maybe just try and look. Just adding a bit. A lot of people could just always add a little bit more protein to their diet instead of having maybe cereal for breakfast. Maybe have some eggs or something like that. Just extra protein. It will help.
Yeah, looking at protein, your intake is pretty
a lot
important,
of
especially to help
people
your recovery and
do
stuff from weight training.
Yeah.
Protein's fantastic.
A lot of people who aren't clued up on it, haven't got a clue how much protein they're eating, and probably aren't eating enough protein for weight loss and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
How would you say, Matty, on say in terms of say people who want to compete? Like, and I know there's levels to this, but like, what we're talking nutrition-wise there, do you think? And just we'll briefly go over it because we can talk about it in depth another time.
Yeah, sure. So making sure you're fueled for your sessions, right? If you're looking to compete, again, depends on what stage of the season. So Bing might be in a stage where he's got a bit of time for his next competition. He recognises that he needs to trim up a little bit to make the gymnastics a little bit easier. So he would
lose
look
a bit of muscle mass.
Lose a bit of muscle. But for the vast majority of people who are like in at the right sort of body weight and they would just want to fuel themselves, I'd say just making sure you're getting enough food in, making sure you've got enough protein to recover, split out throughout the day, and then fueling your training sessions with carbs, making sure you're getting enough before your session and then after. Again, everyone's going to be completely individual based on their weight and all that kind of stuff and how much work they're doing, but people think it's just protein after training, but actually carbs is way more important immediately after training, just to help you fuel ready for that next session, especially if you're being competitive.
Try and get carbs in as soon as you possibly can. I see a lot of people finish training, they'll sit around stretching, they probably not going to eat for an hour and a half, 2 hours afterwards, but it's like, no,
get it in straight away.
Just bring a bit of an apple, banana,
fruit,
anything,
banana.
bit of fruit. As soon as you finish training, have it. You'll feel better for it in the long run. For the next
session, you'll be ready, a lot more ready, and then keeping your fats for maybe earlier in the day. If you're training in the evening, might be a good idea to focus more of your carbohydrates around that training, keeping your fats for a bit earlier on in the day, generally. But just being consistent with that is the number one thing. Like everything we've said, just get a handle on it, because most people, 99% of people, don't have a clue what they're consuming, in terms of their energy in and energy out. So if you can get that balance to start with, that's the main thing.
Sweet. Nice one.